This happened to me about 14 months ago. I didn't want to talk about it for a long time, but honestly, I need to get it out, and maybe someone out there can tell me what the hell I actually saw that night. My name is Dylan Reeves. I'm 28, an IT consultant from Sacramento. I was driving back from a work conference in Las Vegas, taking the long desert route because I hate flying and needed time to decompress. It was October, the sun setting early, sky burnt orange, like everything was on fire. I was 2 hours east of Tonopah on Route 95 when the lights appeared ahead. Bright enough they could have been a small city out in absolute nothing. I checked my phone out of habit. No signal, obviously. The orange and white lights pulsed slightly, growing larger as I approached. That's when I saw the turnoff, a faded sign reading fuel and something about a convenience store. The parking lot was empty. I was low on gas and my bladder was screaming, so I pulled in anyway. Parked right in front, close enough to touch the glass. I looked at my reflection and felt something wrong. A cold weight in my chest despite the windows being up. The silence outside was the wrong kind, not peaceful, like the air was holding its breath. The station was huge, bigger than any rest stop I'd seen, and older. 1970s brown, stained by decades of desert sun. 2 sets of double doors propped open. Between them, handprints in the dust, like someone had fallen and gotten back up. Inside, the smell hit first. Not rot, just old. Stale cigarettes, old newspaper, something underneath I couldn't name. The fluorescent lights buzzed overhead, that particular electrical hum that always makes me feel like I'm in a place that time forgot. And I stood there for a moment, letting my eyes adjust, trying to figure out why I felt like I was walking into a trap. I was alone in that store, completely, totally alone. And that was the second warning I ignored because I was too focused on my own discomfort to pay attention to the signs that something was very, very wrong. The shelves were fully stocked, floors clean, counters polished, soft country music playing like it was mocking me. Then I saw her, the woman behind the register, too tall, skeletal, wearing a faded red polo with a name tag scratched down to ghost letters. Her smile didn't reach her eyes. It stayed frozen, wrong, and her teeth looked too white, too perfect, like a dead person's. Her voice was honey poured over gravel. I said good evening. She said it back. I told her I needed to pay for gas first. She nodded, never breaking eye contact. When I came back, I grabbed water and chips. She scanned them with an ancient handheld device. The total was $4.37, impossibly cheap for a place in the middle of nowhere, but I didn't question it. She looked at me with those dark eyes and asked if I was staying long. I said just passing through. Her smile flickered like a dying bulb. You should use the restroom before you go. Her long, bony finger pointed past the rows of snacks, toward a door I hadn't noticed before, painted the same faded brown as the walls. She told me to go through, down the hall. It'd be on my right. I thanked her because I really did have to go, and I started walking, and I swear I felt her eyes on my back the entire time, watching, waiting. Like whatever was in that bathroom, she was counting on me to find it. I walked past the back cooler, which was humming loudly and filled with rows of sodas and energy drinks, all lit up with those little orange and blue stickers that stores use to make things look more appealing than they actually are. The door she had pointed to was right there, exactly where she'd said, and I remember putting my hand on the handle and pausing for just a second, feeling this wave of something wash over me. Not quite fear, but definitely dread, the kind of feeling you get when you know you're about to do something you shouldn't. The handle was so cold, it stung. Inside, the air hit me with mildew and old paper, and something chemical underneath, like someone covering up something worse. The hallway stretched ahead, long, narrow, flickering fluorescence casting weird shadows on cracked, peeling linoleum. The walls were that horrible shade of beige that might have been white once, and water stains on the ceiling looked like faces if you stared too long. My footsteps echoed, doubling back like someone walked behind me, keeping perfect time. About halfway down, I passed a window on my left, an office behind drawn blinds, just pure blackness like someone had painted the glass black. Then I heard it, a wet, rhythmic sound from behind the restroom door. I stopped, hand hovering, trying to convince myself to just open it. The light above me flickered and went completely dark for 3 full seconds. In that blackness, I felt eyes on me from that black window behind me. I turned back to the restroom door and I took a deep breath, and I told myself that I was being ridiculous, that I was just tired from driving, that there was a rational explanation for all of this, that I was letting the desert get to my head. I grabbed the handle again, and this time I didn't pause. I just pulled it open, and the smell that came out was like nothing I'd ever experienced before. Copper and rust and decay and something sweet underneath that made my stomach lurch. And I knew right then and there that I was not alone in that bathroom. The door swung open and I saw the bathroom. And I think my heart actually stopped for a second, because what I saw didn't make sense, wasn't possible, couldn't be real in any way that my brain could process. The entire room, every inch of wall, was covered in paper, handwritten notes, printed pages, napkins, receipts, torn cardboard, all stuck with what looked like dried blood. Every single one said the same thing, over and over, in hundreds of handwriting styles, in ink and pencil and marker and lipstick. Wait here, don't leave, he is coming. Words were gouged deep into the plaster too, arrows pointing everywhere, like someone giving directions to something. I stepped inside, couldn't stop myself, and saw the toilet covered in dust so thick I could see my footprint in it. Nobody had used it in months or years. The sink was rusted, and when I turned the handle, nothing came out, just a grinding sound from deep in the walls. I read the notes more closely, and that's when I realized they weren't all the same. One on a gas station receipt. He doesn't leave. He never leaves. He's been here longer than any of us. Another scratched on paper. I can hear him in the walls at night. He talks through the pipes. He says he's waiting for someone who will understand. A third, printed neat and methodical. If you're reading this, leave now. Don't pay for your gas. Don't say goodbye to the woman. He is patient. He has all the time. But he can only reach you if you stay too long. I backed toward the door and saw it, scratched deep into the drywall near the floor, carved so deep it must have taken days with bleeding fingernails. I have been here since November. Please call the police. He is under the floor. He is always under the floor. And below that, in different handwriting, fresher, like it had been written more recently. They found me. They always find me. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. He says you're next. I grabbed my phone off the floor and I ran. I ran out of that bathroom and down that hallway and past that horrible black window. And I didn't look back. I didn't stop. I just ran until I slammed into the counter at the front of the store. And that's when I realized that I was completely and utterly alone. The woman was gone. completely vanished, and I stood there in the empty store with my chest heaving, my mind screaming that this wasn't possible. She'd been right there not 5 minutes ago. There was nowhere to go. The music had stopped. The refrigerators hummed in silence. Only the fluorescent buzz and my ragged breathing echoed off the walls. I walked behind the counter, searching for a door, a passage, anything. Found nothing but cigarettes and batteries. Then I saw the calendar on the wall, stuck on November 4 years ago. Time had stopped in this place. Whatever happened here had frozen everything, and I was just now arriving at the moment when that frozen time woke up. I heard something then, from the back, from the hallway I just fled. A low sound that might have been a voice or wind or something that didn't belong in this world. I turned toward it, squinted into the darkness, saw nothing. But I felt it, a presence. I was being watched from somewhere I couldn't see. I wasn't supposed to be here. I'd made a terrible mistake coming inside, following that woman's instructions, opening that bathroom door. I grabbed my wallet, slapped a 20 on the counter, didn't care about the money anymore, just wanted out. I walked toward the front doors as fast as I could without running, because some deep part of my brain said running would make whatever was in that store happy. I pushed through the doors, and the cool desert air hit my face like a slap. I gasped, realized I'd been holding my breath the whole time. The parking lot was still empty. My car was right where I'd left it. I walked toward it with keys already in hand, fumbling to unlock the door, thinking I'd never complain about traffic again. I'd give anything to see another car, another human being, anyone who could confirm the world I remembered still existed outside this horrible place. I got in my car and slammed the door behind me, and I locked it immediately, checked all the locks, made sure every single one was engaged. And then I sat there for a second with my hands on the steering wheel, trying to stop shaking, trying to convince myself that I was going to be okay, that I was going to drive away from this place and never think about it again. I put the key in the ignition, and I started the engine, and the radio came on full blast, blasting out some talk show about conspiracy theories. And I nearly jumped out of my seat because the silence had been so complete that any sound felt like an intrusion, felt like a violation. I turned the radio off, and I put the car in reverse, and I started backing out of the parking space. And that's when I looked in my rearview mirror, my automatic rearview mirror, that adjusts when you shift into reverse. And I saw the window, the big front window of the gas station, and I saw her standing there. The woman was standing in the window. She was standing completely still, perfectly still, like a mannequin or a statue. And she was looking directly at me, directly into my eyes through that mirror. And she was smiling, still smiling, that horrible frozen smile that she'd been wearing since I walked into the store. And I saw something in her eyes that I'll never forget. Something that wasn't human. Something that had been hiding behind that smile the entire time. I stomped on the gas, and my car lurched forward, and I spun the wheel and drove out of that parking lot so fast that my tires screamed against the asphalt. And I didn't look back. I couldn't look back. But I could feel her watching me. Feel those eyes following my car as I sped away into the darkness. And I drove for 40 miles before I stopped, pulled into a rest area, and sat there in my car with my doors locked, trying to convince myself that any of that had actually happened. The rest area was a small pull-off with a couple of picnic tables and a single restroom that hadn't been cleaned since the 1980s. I parked in the shadows, engine running, headlights off, trying to calm down enough to think. I pulled out my phone and almost cried. Signal, 3 bars. I'd been cut off for over an hour, trapped with whatever was inside that place. And now I had a connection to reality again. I called 911, shaking so badly I could barely hold the phone, and words poured out in a rush. The gas station, the woman, the bathroom, the notes, the scratched words. The dispatcher listened, asked me to repeat things, and I gave her the location. Route 95, about 40 miles south of Tonopah. She said she'd send a unit, told me to stay until they arrived. I waited 2 hours, nobody came. I called back, another hour, still nobody. Eventually the sun started coming up, and I realized I couldn't sit there forever. I needed to move, needed to get as far away as possible before whatever was in that station figured out where I went. I drove back to Sacramento in a daze, stopping only for gas and coffee, peeing in rest area bathrooms with my eyes closed, because I couldn't stand to look at walls anymore, couldn't stand to see paper or notes on any surface. When I got home, I locked every door, checked every window, and sat in my living room with all the lights on until exhaustion finally pulled me under. 2 days later, I got a phone call, and it was from the sheriff's department in Nye County, Nevada. And I remember looking at the number on my phone and feeling this cold dread wash over me, because I knew what they were going to say before I answered, knew it in my bones. And when I picked up, a deputy told me that they'd sent a unit to the location I'd described, and I held my breath. And he said these words that I'll never forget as long as I live. The property I'd described, the gas station I'd been to, had burned down 4 years ago, was condemned and sealed by the county, and there was no way anyone could have been inside because the building was supposed to be structurally unsound and hazardous. And when they went to check the location, the doors were still chained and padlocked exactly as they'd been left after the fire. I told him he was wrong, that I'd been inside, that I'd seen the woman, that I'd seen the notes, and he asked me to describe the location again, and I did, and he said that matched the condemned property, but when they checked the interior, there was no bathroom, no hallway, no counter, nothing but a collapsed roof and charred timbers and ash. And the bathroom that I'd stood in, the horrible bathroom covered in warnings, didn't exist and never had existed according to any record they could find. He asked me if I'd been drinking or using any substances, and I said no. And he asked me if I had any history of mental illness, and I said no. And he told me that sometimes the desert can play tricks on people, that exhaustion and isolation can cause hallucinations. And I wanted to scream at him, wanted to tell him that I knew what I saw, that I could still smell the mildew and the decay, that I could still feel the cold of that doorknob and hear the buzz of those fluorescent lights. But I didn't. I just thanked him and hung up. And I sat there in my living room in the middle of the day with all my lights on, trying to figure out what was real and what wasn't. And I still don't know. Even now, 14 months later, I still don't know. I haven't been the same since that night. I haven't slept through the night. I have this recurring dream where I'm back in that hallway walking toward the bathroom, knowing what's on the other side, but I can't stop, can't turn around. And every night in the dream, I open the door and read those words and feel that presence behind me. And I always turn around, and she's always there at the end of the hallway, the woman with the too big smile. And she says something I can never quite hear, and I wake up screaming. I went to a therapist after the 3rd week. I told her everything. She said it sounded like trauma processing, that the gas station was a metaphor for something in my past I hadn't dealt with. I wanted to believe her because it was easier than the alternative, but I couldn't shake the feeling that what I saw was real, that something in that station wanted me to find those notes, wanted me to know I had been marked. I started researching online, looking for any mention of it, any history. I found a single article from 8 years ago, a tiny local newspaper piece about a fire that killed 2 employees, a man and a woman. Faulty wiring in the back room, total loss. The property was condemned. I checked the address against my memory. It was the same place, exactly the same place where I'd bought water and chips and had that horrible conversation. I printed the article, pinned it to my wall, and stared at it every night, trying to understand how I could have been inside a building that no longer existed. Talking to a woman who had died in a fire 4 years before I was ever born. I drove back to that location 6 months later. I know, I shouldn't have. But I had to know, had to see it with my own eyes, had to confirm once and for all whether I'd hallucinated the whole thing or whether there was something actually there, some remnant of whatever had happened in that place, some proof that I wasn't losing my mind. I drove out to Nevada on a Saturday morning, left at dawn, and I made it to Route 95 by early afternoon, and I drove slowly, scanning the sides of the road for the turnoff, for the sign, for the lights, and when I finally saw it, my heart nearly stopped because it was exactly as the deputy had described. A collapsed roof and charred timbers and ash, a ruin, a skeleton of a building, everything burned away except the foundation and a few walls. And I pulled over and I got out of my car and I walked toward it, and I saw the padlock and chain on what had been the front doors, rusted and old, exactly as if nobody had touched them in years. I walked around the perimeter looking for some sign, some connection to what I'd experienced, and I found it on the back wall, the wall that faced away from the road, where someone had spray painted these words in red. "He is still waiting." I stood there staring at those words for a long time, and I felt it again, that presence, that awareness that I was being watched from somewhere inside that ruin. And I turned and I ran back to my car and I drove away, and I didn't stop until I was back in California, and I haven't been back since, and I never will be back, because I know now that some places don't belong to the living, and some doors, once opened, can never be closed, and some warnings are written in blood and ash and ruin, because that's the only language the dead can speak to the living. And if you ever find yourself in the middle of nowhere, and you see lights in the darkness, and a woman with a smile that never changes, I need you to understand something. You don't have to go inside. You can keep driving. You can go home. But if you do go in, if you do walk down that hallway and open that bathroom door, you need to know that you're not just reading warnings left by strangers. You're accepting an invitation. And something is waiting for you. Something that has been waiting for a very, very long time. And it will not let you go. Long silence. I still don't sleep the same when I'm on a desert road at night.